2, 1. Let's do this. Hello, everybody. Good evening, beautiful people. We're here for the very first edition of Ham2K Office Hours. And I plan to do this every couple of weeks. We'll see if we can do it regularly. I plan to do it at different schedules also to allow for people who go to bed early or people who live in the other side of the world where right now it's 3 in the morning. Hi, Jetil. So we'll see what happens, but ideally every 2 weeks I'll be having one of these, telling you guys what's going on and where are we with Ham2K. The first thing today, the big thing, is that starting last week, I am now a professional amateur. I've decided to go full-time working on Ham2K. I'm an indie developer now, and I took a jump not knowing exactly what was going to happen. It was a little bit of a forced play, but it's something I've been thinking about for a while already. I'm really, really motivated by what I'm doing with Ham2K, and I wanted to be able to work more and more of it on it. And so it was time. I decided I'm going to be doing this exclusively, or maybe I'll do some consulting work here and there too, to try to help pay the bills. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but all of Ham2K offerings are free and open source, which means you can use it without having to pay. And I intend to maintain it that way. My business model is I want to make products that are so nice that you want to send me money because it makes you happy. Not because you have to, not because you must, but because it's what you really feel like doing. And it means I gotta work hard at making a nice product. I want to work hard at making something people want to use and something that people feel smart using and happy using. It's been almost 3 years since I started working on Polo in particular. I had been doing some other projects before, but much smaller and simpler. Almost 3 years since I started working on Polo. And ever since the very first days, people were asking, where's the Windows version? I want to use it on my laptop. I want to use it on my desktop. I hate my phone. And one of the reasons I hadn't been able to deliver on that is time. Like up until now, I was working about 2-3 hours every day in the morning before 9 when I would switch to my day job. But that meant of the 3 hours I was putting in, the first half hour was dedicated to just ramping up to where I was before drinking coffee, getting awake. And the last half hour was dedicated to like administrivia, customer support, and things like that. So in the end, I was working only 1.5 hours a day, maybe 2 if I was lucky. In the last, I don't know, 10, 11, it's not even 2 weeks since I started working full time. I've put in about 100 hours already. I've been super productive and things are moving very, very, very fast, which is one of the reasons I wanted to do this office hours thing. And I don't want to delay too much, but I want to show you guys something that's what I've been working this last 10 days, which is, I don't know if you've noticed, but this here thingy on the screen is a Windows computer. It's actually a computer that's right behind me. I'm accessing it through a remote desktop so I can share it here on the screen. And what you have here is Ham2K Logger. Still not sure if it's going to be called Desktop Logger, Just Logger, Power Logger, or something like that, but it's going to be Ham2K something Logger. And it looks not too different from Polo. In fact, what you see here on screen is synced from my Polo account. Let me see if I can do a nice quick demo here on screen. I wasn't planning for this, but let's see if I can show you guys here. I'm on my phone. I'm logging Whiskey 1, Whiskey Charlie. Oops, Whiskey 1, Whiskey Charlie. I logged it here, and There it is on the screen. Sync works. I've actually been adding pretty much all of the core features of Polo. You have things like spots, maps, operation, export data. It's there's a lot of fine tuning that I have to do, but the core, the largest chunks of work have been completed. In fact, yesterday I was able to do a full activation using the desktop version, which was very exciting. It took me like 3 months when I started working in Polo to go from zero to being able to do an activation, and there were no spotting. There was no spotting. None of that existed. Right now, this desktop version of Polo is literally, I don't know, 80% of what it has to be, and I'm really hoping I can do an alpha release by this weekend. Yeah, somebody in the YouTube chat asked if syncing works across devices and not just at the end of operations. Nope, it's syncing all the time. And in fact, the sync you saw there is a bit slow because I haven't yet implemented the push service for syncing, but that's available. It's going to be pretty much instantaneous as soon as we implement that. You can sync between devices. And I've actually used that feature to do field day logging and contest logging with friends with multiple stations, and it works beautifully. And one thing that's interesting to show is not only am I writing the desktop version of Polo, I'm writing the next generation of Polo. I decided to rewrite the app from scratch, taking all the lessons I've learned with Polo into a new single code base that would run on Windows, but also on Macs and Linux, but also on your phone. I've made the whole thing be super, what they call in the industry, responsive, that as soon as you change the window size, it adapts and brings two columns. Things like, for example, if I'm changing the activities, it shows up as a dialog if I'm on a big screen, but if the screen becomes small enough, it becomes a separate window, and so on. That will allow me to support all the different platforms: Android, iOS, iPads, Mac, Windows, Linux, and even web. Let me see if I can open this for you. That same thing runs on a web version. It even downloads Podaparks, all the same files that Polo downloads. Let's do another quick live demo here. If I go to sync, turn sync on, and say switch accounts, I can link using a QR code. Let me see if you guys can see. I can take a photo of that QR code, open it on my phone. It opens on Polo and it says, yes, link it. And boom, it's active. And then it says, yep, replace the current activity. And it starts getting my data from my account on my phone. I'm very, very excited with how this is working. And this is in a browser. This is Chrome running this, and I can get that same contact I had here. Let me log Ethan Kilo Oscar 4 Foxtrot X-ray. I log him here, and if I go to Polo, here he is, and he's on my phone. It's syncing, working across all the devices. So that's what I've been working in the last week and a half. And it's crazy how I've been able to basically speed run 2.5 years of work that Polo took and redoing it from scratch into a new version. A lot of it was using AI agents for help. I've been using Claude and Gemini and anti-gravity like crazy. And it was the speed of development there that got me the confidence to go do a full rewrite, which is usually a very bad idea. But I've gotten so far in less than 2 weeks that I know I will have an alpha by next week, and we'll have a full stable release by the end of the summer for sure. I've also did, I cannot show them here on screen, but I did a couple of experiments on the good old Polo. I started working on cat support, and I was controlling my Flex radio from my phone, changing frequencies, clicking on spots will change the radio, changing the radio will update the phone, the frequency. It was working beautifully, and I know I'll be able to implement a lot of that in the next generation of Ham2K logger very quickly. I'm building this to make software development really, really fast. A lot of features that I've been meaning to add to Polo but hadn't because of having to deal with multiple architectures and thinking about working on the Windows version and so on was slowing me down. This is going to be very exciting next couple of months in terms of features for Polo. So exciting that I think it's going to be time to start asking people what they want, what do they want to see besides cat control and Windows. Those have been the top two things on the list for a very long time, and they're going to be tackled very soon. So I want to hear from you guys what you want to see next, because I'm going to have a lot of time to work on things, and I have way too many ideas, but also want to develop what you guys want to have. In the chat, someone asks if phones will support cat controls or just desktop. It's going to be, the answer is yes, but the type of connections you can do from phones is more limited than what you can do on a desktop. Especially iOS doesn't allow serial ports or regular Bluetooth. So anything that's you can connect over Wi-Fi will be easy to add on phones. Anything else might take more work. So cat control is something that will show up in piecemeal. It'll be the devices will be able to control some radios on some platforms, but will be chipping away at the problem and trying to add more and more different radios to control. And judging by the amount of time it took me to add support for Flex Radio, I think we'll get a bunch of them very soon. The damn ICOM, I have this one here because I was trying to get it to work. Jesus, ICOM's network protocol is such a mess, but we'll get it there. We'll get it working. Brian asks about offline networking for field day. Way ahead of you. I want to be able to let people share a single operation with others. It'll show up. You don't have to connect entire accounts like you do now with the sync. So somebody will start a field day activation on their phone, and they'll be able to share with everybody else in the group, and then it'll show up on their phones, and they'll be able to log. And yes, even supporting offline networking. That's one of my dreams. I want to have like the best logger for field day, and the easiest one to set up. So that's going to be coming for sure. Hopefully by winter field day, it'll be there. They ask about Tethys and Yesu. One of the biggest barriers to doing cat control is going to be having access to test devices. I have Yesu radios. I have an ICOM 705. I have a Flex. I don't have an Elecraft. I don't have a Kenwood. I don't have Tethys. But I'm sure I'll find people not far from here that are willing to lend me a radio for a couple of weeks, and we'll get it to work. So the cat control is something that's going to take a few months until we get to that one radio you really care about, unless the radio you really care about is one of the ones I have. The radios I care about will happen to be supported very quickly. I'm sorry to say that. I'm biased. I will do my radios first. But I'll be working on supporting all the other radios. I'll be working on supporting all the contests. In fact, the last version of regular Polo that was released a couple of days ago finally has support for ARRL DX contest, CQ Worldwide, CQ WPX, and the IARU HF Championship. It was a little bit too late for other people to be able to use it for the contest last weekend for the WRTC, but I did use it for a couple of hours on my phone doing cat control on my Flex and logging a contest, which felt very, very good. So Ham2K is going to expand beyond being a POTA logger, but I think I'll keep making the POTA experience as good as possible, because it's what most of us do every week and every day. People who do contests, they do that one contest once a year. Us POTA activators will go out every week, 2-3 times a week. So that's the main way I'm testing Polo and testing Ham2K logger. So that's going to be getting better and better. I'm asked about being able to automatically update POTA and QRZ. That's coming too. POTA has to provide support for us to be able to do it. But uploading to QRZ, uploading to Club Log, live logging, live streaming to Club Log, uploading to even Logbook of the World, maybe not directly from your phone, but maybe from the desktop versions. All of those things are going to be coming again, because there are also things I want to happen. I want to see happen because I want them there. I want to have something that manages my entire log collection, that I can drop all the ADIF files I've been collecting for the last few years and can sort them out and give me a nice clean list of contacts. I want to make it the best POTA hunting logger for when you're at home on your desktop logging POTA, hunting for parks. I want to add so many things, and now I have 10 times the time I had up to 2 weeks ago. So things are going to be happening very, very fast. Finally, I was getting impatient with the speed of progress I was having. I do want to say something, which is I need your help. I want to be able to work on this full time, which means I need to be able to pay for groceries and gas and healthcare. And right now, all I have as income is your generous contributions. And a lot of you here in the chat and on Discord have been some of the best contributors so far. But I want people to sign up for the Cloud Sync subscription. That's very meaningful. And that's the best thing you can do right now is sign up for that subscription. And the second best thing is sign up for the subscription and donate some more money. I don't want to. I mean, I know that for a lot of people, giving me $5 is really a significant amount of money given your budgets and what you do, and so anything that you can give me means a lot to me. But if you can give more, that helps offset the people who cannot give as much, and it helps make sure I can focus on working on all of the things I'm planning for Ham2K in the next few months. Shep asks, what does the subscription get you? Well, it gets you, right now the subscription has a free tier, which is either very slow to sync. If you're syncing between two devices, it'll take, I don't know, 30 minutes, an hour to sync them or more. Or if you use some of the web tools we've been building, like logs.ham2k, .net, which also gives you that QR code as a way to connect. Let me quickly connect here. This is something you can use right now. It's still experimental and other tests. This was kind of like the first things I was working towards, the Windows version, before I decided to do the full rewrite. But right now you can go here and click exports, and you can export your POTA activation. If you're on the free tier, you will only be able to see the last 7 days of activity in this view. If you're on the paid tier, which is $25 a year, or $24.99, because that's what Apple and Google lets you pick for a price, then you get much faster sync, which is the speeds you've seen me sync when I've opened it here on the screen. And you get access to your entire history of contacts here when you open the web tools, for example. This is all I have in my phone right now, and I can access it from here directly, see the QSOs. There's no map here yet, but I can export the ADIF files, for example. That's what you get for the subscription. And the warm feeling of knowing that you're supporting me and all the ideas and the entire community of Ham2K. Chris asks, I might have missed a question on the YouTube chat, but what about a feature like Strava that allows you to share a link for an operation and someone can watch it real time? Yes, that's kind of what I was talking about field day. You'd be able to share a one activation. You can say this activation is going to be shared, and you'll be able to share it so that other people can help you manage it, or just log into it, or just see what's going on. So it's exactly like what you say about Strava, and for field day, that's going to be beautiful. Shep asks, if you delete a log from your app, it'll be available. Yes, it'll be available. Even in the free subscription, you'll be able to recover it. You just have to be patient. Max asks about options other than Apple, so you don't have to pay Apple fees. Yes, if you donate through Buy Me a Coffee, which you can find the link on the polo.ham2k.com website, then I pay a lot fewer fees for the privilege of getting your money. Right now, the only way to do the subscription is through Apple or Google. I don't have a way to subscribe directly. But if you do a donation and Buy Me a Coffee, you can pick a recurring donation. And if you, in the message, you tell me that you're doing it for Ham2K log, for the cloud sync, we can figure it out if you want to donate that way. There's always ways to do that. I just can't put it on the app directly to ask people to do that, but I can do it on YouTube like I'm doing right now. What else can we talk about what's coming up? We're going to have a release of this, I'm calling it Halo, but for Ham Logger or Ham2K Logger. I'm going to call it Halo Next, and that's going to be kind of like an alpha release. It's going to live alongside Polo for a month or two until we're sure it's stable and is working well. And then I'm going to replace the iOS and Android versions with a version that's driven by this next generation code base. So all the platforms are going to be running from the same code and moving at the same speed. So for the next, if you want to jump into the bandwagon, the best thing you can do is join our Discord. I'm gonna add on the general on the welcome channel a way to get a tester role. If you get that, if you flag yourself for testing, then I will notify you as soon as we're ready to download this test versions of Windows and test versions of other devices. And Ethan asks if the Windows version will work on ARM-based devices. We'll make an ARM build, and I know I'm going to have somebody that's going to ask about the Linux version. We're going to have Linux versions. I'm sure we're not going to have all the distributions options you have on Linux. We're going to start slow with a couple of basic ones. If you want to have the Debian or like RPM for Red Hat, come and help me figure out what it's needed to do that distribution. We'll make it happen, but I'm going to need your help on the Linux distribution front. And I'm just like before, I was not ready to tell people which month or year it would be the time to get the Windows version. Right now, I cannot tell you which day it'll be. It might be this weekend, it might be early next week, but it's definitely it's going to happen in July that you'll be able to download a test version for Windows, an alpha version for Windows. And most likely by the end of next week, we'll have had a release for Windows, Mac, and Linux. So my advice is come on Discord, not right now because I forgot to set it up earlier, but I'll have that tester role that I'm going to use to notify people when there are things to test. How does Wavelog compare to this? Jeff asks. We started in different directions. I started from the point of view of doing mobile logging, portable logging, and a lot of the other apps like Wavelog and Station Master and many others started more like a desktop tool. And I've if you've seen one of my talks, one of the things I say is that I think that most of the innovation in the ham radio software space in the last 5 years has happened in mobile versions and mobile applications, because you have to solve a lot of problems to in a very small screen. And if you manage to solve them well, it's a solution that works well on desktops too. A lot of the existing applications like Wavelog and so on, they were built around the idea of having a database for ADIF and having a window that lets you see that database. I think that ham logging is much more than that. And in particular, you want to be able to log more than one thing at a time. Nobody is logging only one activity. People want to do many things at a time. And I built Polo from the ground up as a way to do all those things. And this next generation is even better architected to do things, to chew gum and run and walk and juggle at the same time. Ethan asks if there'll be support for CW and SSB macros. Yes, eventually. And like he asked there, one of the things is figuring out how to do an interface for it on mobile, because there's not much room left on those small mobile screens. But I definitely want to have that. I want to be able to do not just CW macros for keying, but like complex macros that do things like switching frequencies and spotting and all the kinds of things you want to do in cat control that normally are only important when you're doing some desktop, like logging from your KTH, sitting at a desk with a bunch of big radios. But hey, it's the same code base, so it'll work on mobiles and for portable use too. So if you have some sequence of things you want to do when logging at a park, like for example, saving this fact that you started the activity, saving the current weather and solar, and spotting yourself all with the touch of a single button, it will be possible to write that configuration and that setup in the kind of logger I have in mind. And for mobile devices, there's an idea I've had for a long time, which is not Bluetooth, but having a bridge device, a little. It could be a Raspberry Pi, one of the small ones that are really inexpensive, that you connect via USB to the serial port of your radio, and that device connects via Wi-Fi to your phone or your laptop, for that matter, and lets you control any of these devices that are hard to connect to an iPhone, or let you control your regular radio without having to run wires all across your desk. So it would be like a small, like Matchbox size device, maybe bigger if you need a battery to power it, or some kind of USB power supply. But that's the plan there. It's going to take more time to work that. It's a little bit more complex problem to solve. But I don't know. I'm excited. In the last 12, 13 days, I've been able to write so much code for this next generation of Ham2K logger that I think we'll get to cat control and things like that with a bridge sooner than I was expecting 3 months ago. And it'll be fun. It'll be a device. Ethan asked if it's going to be open source to build or if I'll sell the device. The most likely answer is both. I like to open source all the work we're doing, and at the same time, I also like to make money, and I like to make things convenient for people. So we can sell the device, and that'll be a way of supporting us, but you can build your own by buying your own Raspberry and SD card and following some instructions. I've been looking at Discord and haven't looked at the YouTube. Upload to SOTA data. Yes, one of the things I want to work on as soon as... So the first thing is I want to get the next generation logger to be full parity with Polo, to do everything Polo does, so we can replace Polo with it. Then I'm going to start working on things like the shared activities for things like field day, and start implementing cat control. And as soon as that is in a workable situation, I want to tackle the uploading to all of the services like URZ and Soda Data and PODA if they have a way to upload at that point, etc., etc. Whatever you can do to upload with a single button, you'd be able to do, hopefully. So you finish your activation, you press a button, and it goes to all the services you want it to go to. That's been a dream of mine for a while. I just haven't had the time to work on it, and thankfully, thanks to you and your support and the fact that I lost a job, now I'm gonna get 10 times as much time as I had before to work on this thing. So it's gonna be moving very, very fast, and it's gonna be very, very fun. And I count on you guys and your support to make this worth it and to make it more fun and to give me more ideas and help me test this and help me spread the word out. So yeah, I think that this is what Ham2K office hours looks like. I don't know if there's anyone else who has questions. Otherwise, we can call it a night. And I can go back to working to make this thing happen as soon as possible. Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And thank you for those of you watching it later from home. 73. And I hope to catch you on the air soon. I'm good on QRZ, if anyone it needs to know, as they say. And remember, like, subscribe, hit the bell, go to Buy Me a Coffee and donate. Go to the app and donate. Go to the app and subscribe to the Cloud Sync service. That's the best thing you can do. Excellent. 73, everybody, and have a great evening.